And we are live. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
This is the Hell Factory crew. Join. I'm just going to start over. Hello, y'all. This is Ninja DCT. Join again for another double act in the time for Helluva Boss. And all Helluva Boss and news double mission 0. And also the most recent short episode. Was it 6 or 7?
7.
7. All right, join me again. Random Google Hangouts or Wolfgang.
Hello, everyone. It is I, Wolfgang, also known as Evan Valentine. When I saw this episode come out, I was just like, wow, Viv got into so much controversy over the pilot that she finally made a new one that actually has canon consistencies, and we're getting actual fucking lore for Moxie. This is interesting. Plus, also, they were definitely wanting to show off that with this new Prime deal, they could be more suggestive. We had 2 couples fucking this time.
We are such a bad influence.
Yes. Guys, I'm nearly 17. It's fine.
Holy audience. Yeah, this is totally Blitz with Luna in this unaired pilot.
I'm just the Luna of the group here, and I'm just like, guys, please, I'm 17. It's fine.
Next up, Jenn.
I may be first, I may be last, I may be a little bit under the weather after vacation, and the universe decides to screw me over because it doesn't want me to be happy because it wants me to suffer. But I am first and always, Jenn. Hello.
You just want you to appreciate your vacation more by making your return even worse.
Exactly. I don't get it, but whatever.
All right.
But yeah.
I don't know how it feels.
To be me.
All right. Next up, Alice.
Next.
Scarlett.
I didn't hear, like, it seemed like you cut off, Derek.
Oh, sorry, my mic is a little bit away with this. So,
well, hello, how do you do? This is Good Middle Gator here, just saying to you all. Seen some remakes of like certain stuff, and then probably seen like the best highlight episode for Moxie in a good while, probably because we had a huge brevity of time. It feels really nice. It feels really nice. Like actually good content coming from VisiPop here.
Yeah.
we were thinking about that, but dear gosh, you're right. This is probably the best Moxie episode we had in like season one, probably.
Since the last Moxie episode.
They finally redemption for Moxie has been done.
Redemption for Moxie after last time was an absolute disaster.
Let's hear it for the boy.
What was the last thing that happened? Boy, was the last thing that happened with Moxie also his dad?
No. The last episode was quite literally me.
Unhappy campers.
This is a redemption Moxie episode. This was really good.
Absolutely
good. This redemption from the campers thing. I could definitely say I can easily erase it. But this easily erase it. This is really good. I would like to hug Moxie the way Millie does because the boy deserves it.
Absolutely. We finally got a redemption arc for Moxie.
Yay!
I feel like the camper episode has denigrated into what the Star Wars prequels did after people had been yelling red letter media enough, which is that all of us literally only remember that Moxie had an annoying song in it and nothing else about it.
Right. But next up, though, is second and maybe safe.
Really? Second day. Hi there, this is the Second Opinion in Day Lover, this group's resident Moxie and Millie, because I guess we've established who the Luna is.
We lost.
Let's go.
Oi, which I guess makes DC the Blitz.
That makes me.
I mean, technically
Maybe
by
Moxie and
default,
Millie.
even though that's an interesting fit.
Jeez.
Carlos, you're Fizzaroli. You're now Fizzaroli.
Wait. You saying I'm Fizz?
Yeah.
That could be interesting. All right, so now we will do the in-character thing and spend the next 20 minutes kissing each other. One moment.
Aww. Aww. You guys are so cute.
Buzz, we didn't see if Jenn actually popped back in. Forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so sudden. I'd like to think it wasn't intentional.
I guess we'll start with the discussion of the pilot, which was
Yeah.
which seems to be basically just in a reforming format of the original pilot. It's more streamlined without a sort of kid plot, like also sort of getting the same info, so probably being more direct with the info about how the world works in the original pilot too.
Yeah, I mean, okay, the original pilot, I might have to flip through it after this. I remember
Hey, Jen.
Sorry
advertisements.
about that.
Welcome back, Jen.
Sorry about that. I forgot my laptop. I forgot my laptop was low power, and then it died. So I had to plug it back in. But now it's undead. It's alive again.
You missed the Moxie and Millie kissing.
Yay.
Yeah, we decided to fly with that whole we all have a Helluva Boss counterpart thing. So Oliver and I guess are Moxie and Millie, hence the in-character thing we have to do right now.
Stop, you kids. Yep.
Aw.
No, of course.
Aren't you supposed to be like, get a room, you
Yes,
kids?
you I know. Y'all are so cute. It makes my diabetes even worse.
Yay.
Hi. Diabetes. D-I-E-E-Z.
I-A-E-T-U-S. Hey, where'd my bunny avatar go? See? Oh no! It was too sweet. It's too sweet. It made my bunny avatar disappear. See? Ah!
Yay.
Yeah, bunnies can't handle too much sugar. Carrots are not as good for them as you'd think.
Mm.
Oh
That's
yeah, I had
true.
a friend with a bunny who told me about that.
Indeed.
But,
So yeah, we were talking OG pilot. Yeah, all I remember from the like the pilot that originally aired is call your husband or your wife, kill your husband or your wife, or leave and let you keep the knife for the immediate
Media murder
professionals.
professionals.
And the kid who is a smartass and eventually
They
they
actually
find
show
out
him
that he
dying in
actually
this
was
pilot.
their target,
Yep.
which yeah, I mean, did they say that was the first mission in that pilot?
I think it's just like implied with the title Mission Zero. I really
Well,
feel
this
like
one's called Mission Zero. The other one that's just called the pilot. I mean, did they say that the kid was the first one, or was that just supposed to be an example of how they mess things up and succeed at the same time?
I think it's just an example of how they mess things up, you know.
Oh yeah,
Like,
they
it wasn't
showed the
supposed
kid. They showed the kid die. They showed the kid dying in I think like Millie's scene where they were like killing everyone and going crazy. They showed the kid dying, so the kid might still be canon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like, does this contradict the other pilot all that much? Like, at
Yeah,
all?
it-
Even?
it's just no detail. Like
It's just overriding the pilot just because like of the original voice actor for Stolas that they had back then when they were going for a different angle with the Stolas Blitz relationship. But now
Plus, also
it's just
writer drama.
Yeah, I mean, have they come out and said that even? Because like, I don't know, that like this could still bleed into I mean, if they haven't explicitly said that, it could technically still be a case of making it up as we go along. No, let's sit down on this angle. This is my final answer. The slightly less expected, Stolas doesn't actually know what he's doing and is not actually even as bad a guy as you might think he is.
Yeah,
But,
I think they probably like put that in set that in stone like very last minute.
Yeah, but I think this pilot mostly did like streamlines the world building, like without less basically like drop the kid plot, and this focuses more on the biz and the world building. It changes like the character dynamics more like is more or less evil villain and more Stolas, for naive Stolas. So
Well, I mean, like, I feel like at this point in the game, like the need for another pilot for the people who are only finding out about Helluva Boss now, which, I mean, maybe that's what they're expecting now that it's going over to Amazon, but I feel like even on that level, there is not much need. I feel like this is more just like for the fans to, flash back to when the dynamic was different and when, there was.
I think it says brought it up before with pilot 4, because the pilot for Helluva Boss is always sort of like a regular pilot, whereas like it sort of informs the show, but at the same time it's not sort of canon, and it's semi-canon.
This was just very.
There's only
just
one
not to be.
particular issue with the pilot.
Yeah, but and in contrast to Heaven Hotel, which is like the pilot is very much needed to know like what the show is about.
Yeah, the thing is though that with the Helluva Boss pilot, I think the main reason that they made a new one was not only is Hazbin Hotel straight up referenced in the original Helluva Boss pilot, and I don't think they're ready for a crossover yet, but at the same time they have things such as Stella's design being set extremely different, Stella basically being an entirely different character, Stolas being an entirely different character, having multiple different voice actors, a different animation style. Millie also has a separate design, but the main two factors are the writer. Well, the main one factor is the writer. Viv and the writer of this episode had a falling out, and there was like some sort of massive Twitter controversy about it, about like her straight up stealing designs from this guy, kind of like how Cherry Bomb's design is literally just, like his design but recolored. She screwed this guy over badly, even though he was the one that literally wrote her pilot. And he also added a slur into the script, which got the pilot heavily canceled on Twitter because, Viv and Twitter don't go along very well. So she had to deal with that simultaneously with this guy throwing around tons of accusations online, causing her to want to get as far away from it as possible. And as people kept finding more and more issues with the pilot, being either lore consistencies, the writer spreading more information and misinformation about Viv, it just turned into a massive dumpster fire. And then as soon as it was time to post some sort of pilot on Amazon, Viv was instantly just like, this is unsalvageable, and then made a new pilot. I'm pretty sure that's what happens.
Well, the Heaven Hotel Helluva's pilot was an actual out, because we're not really in traditional media supposed to see a pilot. It's just supposed to be something that's more internal use mostly, but like in the YouTube world, that sort of changes things, especially in like more Twitch shows. So it sort of changed, and then like also this is more kind of canonize the information of the pilot, but also just because it was just like that a pilot. It's not like sort of a semi thing.
I mean, like there was like, let's nail down one claim here. You're saying that all of the Helluva Boss episodes and this pilot, but not the old pilot with just killing the kid, are going to be on Amazon. Everything except that pilot is going to be left off.
Oh yeah, everything except for like the original pilot. But other than that, all the other episodes are on Amazon. I'm not sure about the shorts. I think the shorts might be a YouTube exclusive thing. All I know for certain is that all the Helluva Boss episodes, including the new pilot, have already been uploaded onto Amazon. The original pilot has not been uploaded to Amazon, and most of the animation of the previous episodes has been redone been redone and upgraded by the team to try and make a more consistent art style and more consistent design for characters like Millie. Unfortunately, this took a huge amount of effort and work from the team, meaning that's probably going to take longer for us to get Helluva Boss Season 3, considering they spent so much time redoing all the animation and Millie's design in multiple episodes for really no reason except for slightly more consistency on Amazon.
Which I hate just on principle, because it's like, yeah, the whole animation must be consistent from frame to frame. I'm like, dude, there's such a thing as expressiveness and it being at times more important than consistency. Like, yeah, unless when I watch the Amazon episodes, these upgrades look really, really nice, I'm probably going to say you wasted your time just on principle.
Yeah.
But also,
And then there's
say,
millions of fans that's going to be like, we still find this one single flaw in the episode. It's bad.
Yeah.
Literally, and it's such a disaster because like Viv could have put all the time her team spent on redoing all the animation, all the designs for characters like Millie, Stella, and like 5 other characters that didn't have consistent designs. And all that effort could have been spent into working on the new season, but instead she redid the animation and half the designs for the cast for the entire season and made a new pilot, which, like I said, the new pilot was slightly necessary. But even so, in my humble opinion, sure, there is a very long laundry list of reasons why having a new pilot is a very needed idea.
Mhm.
I still think that she should have like made that a later thing. I think she still should have put more effort into the next season instead of making an entirely new pilot when really we don't need it. Sure, the original pilot has a lot of inconsistencies and was made by someone that Viv has cut ties with, but I don't think that's important enough to put that much effort into something that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of the show. Because it's like, it doesn't really change much lore aspects. It just makes things slightly more consistent.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, from a storytelling perspective, we cannot appreciate it all we want. I mean, I feel like as far as running the scenes goes, like, wait till you're the person on the other side of the desk before you say it doesn't make any sense. Because, I mean, you know, I've certainly seen both sides of it where people, want to tell you about how they know so much better than that idiot on the other side of the desk, and then like when you know what the rationale is, it's like, okay, you guys know nothing except nothing, and you're having a glorified jamboree of look at what I care about, tell me that it's so important and that I'm smart.
Yep.
But
I always say,
nevertheless, I still can't say I do appreciate it very much from that storytelling perspective. And from having been now just informed in all of this now, like everything except the original pilot on Amazon, that, and with this now just being made and added to that list as well, like those are absolutely the actions of someone who wants to pretend that other pilot doesn't exist.
Yep, and that's exactly what she did because laundry list of reasons.
It's also just canonizing some content and all that for. It also serves the purpose, like what I feel is imagined is this is basically a cheap half episode just to sort of note that the Helluva Boss is on Amazon. So essentially, like this is their new, like another short, but that's not a short sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the weird thing though, that it also, I would give them props for like making the lore slightly more consistent, but in my opinion, they didn't really do that because like they added the scene with Stolas, even slightly making the deal, which makes Murder Family make less sense in my opinion, because in Murder Family it seemed like the deal was like more of a really new on the spot thing. Like Blitz was sort of like pressured into it. Like he was in the middle of a mission, he could have died, and he just said yes to whatever he heard on the phone. And I think that gives Blitz a lot more ground to stand on in the argument with Stolas in Full Moon, that he straight up sprung this deal on him when he was about to get shot. That gives him a lot more merits. But the fact that this deal was already in the works all the way back in the pilot not only makes Blitz seem less in the right, but Viv has done weird things in the story before where she's like directly like tried to like address fan criticisms in her show after getting into so many Twitter arguments that she can't take it anymore. There was and still is an overwhelming hate for Stolas online, so I can't help but feel a looming sensation that the main reason why the deal was starting to be proposed in the pilot was trying to make Stolas seem better and more sane in the agreement. It feels kind of like a way for Viv to make Stolas seem better in a sense that he didn't just spring it on Blitz and force him into it when he was about to die. So it feels kind of like she's trying to make Stolas seem like a better guy, which would make sense considering that she literally has admitted on Twitter that she's seen multiple videos like complaining about Stolas. So I just have a looming sensation that was done on purpose.
Yeah,
I
it's
wouldn't
not
put it past her.
impossible.
Besides,
I mean, like, it's
still
good.
the other character that was probably the most changed is the softening of Luna in this one compared to the original show where he was much more like competent employee and more jerkish to the other staff. Also, she doesn't listen anymore.
Once again, it feels intentional because there was also a lot of criticism about how terrible Luna was earlier in the seasons, and her suddenly becoming a better person. While that is a really good plot point, and I think they segued to it really good with Blitz nearly dying, a lot of people thought her development was really rushed. So once again, gives me a kind of sense of feeling that was done on purpose as a way to sort of like address fan criticisms in a way without any of the general public knowing, unless they're like me and had the displeasure of seeing people complaining about it online. It just sort of feels like it was done on purpose to make Luna's development later in the series make more sense.
Well, I mean, from what I've seen of the Helluva Boss fandom complaints, like, I don't know if any of it has like caught at this point. I haven't seen any like Lily Pete's absolutely being permitted to overachieve and turn enough of the fan base to be considered to have altered the discussion against it. Right now, it's basically like Helluva Boss fans are Star Trek fans 2.0, which is to say that there's a portion of the fan base whose attitude is, this is mine. I say what's wrong with it. I am the one who cares about whether you can go from warp 8 to warp 9 without breaking the ship for this length of time. Therefore, I say this episode is bad because it contradicted that detail. And like, they all, pet each other doing those things without any of it ever catching enough to actually say that it hurt the reception per se. And that said, it does have chants that catch on better than others. Like, chanting against Stolas seems to be moderately popular because he's intentionally written as a bit of a toxic guy, as a guy who has been an abuse victim all of his life, trying to finesse and con his way out of his own nightmare. And in this case, mental health Twitter and such are going to want to follow the letter and not the spirit of something very often.
Absolutely.
Luna, I haven't seen much with her like catch even to that extent. I'm sure it's been thrown around, but if I had to guess, I'd say that portraying her like this in this unaired pilot is remembering, well, in the same vein, remembering the letter of something but not the spirit. Like, this episode does remember that she's not really in good with anybody at this point in time, that her attitude is like, oh, leave me the bleep alone and let me play on my phone, or stop censoring everything in front of me. I'm 22. I guess it just kind of shows that it was made after we've gotten to know her a little bit more personally, and that the episode itself almost writes her from a standpoint of affection, even as it turns the clock back, as opposed to when she was just totally cold and cool and collected. And I pulled my own earbud out 1 second here. But yeah, Stolitz, on the other hand, I wouldn't be surprised if making the version go away who was, let's see, I propose favors for favors. I propose that we have an exchange, which, I mean, which, yeah, well, like, because, yeah, actually, that's another one. Like, I mean, I know I was kind of joking about it in part because I seem to be this group's only defender of the camp episode. Like, yeah, I have the most positive opinion of that episode in this group, and I think it's middle of the road. But that said, yeah, like what I was saying, okay, when your memory of something sort of gets flanderized down to only its most memorable traits, like in this case, yeah, I mean, like our perception of these characters has certainly changed, but yeah, I wouldn't necessarily conflate that with inconsistency in the episode itself. Like Stella's character before the episodes that explain that she's an utterly selfish, stupid, conniving, manipulative, in it for herself and regrets nothing except the fact that she doesn't have everything. Her character before all of that was, you get up. Like, we imagined that this was just sort of a toxic, loveless marriage where, yeah, she was a victim to at least as much of an extent as Stolitz, even if she was the worst person in the equation. But yeah, they didn't change that. They just didn't go with that route in the first place. They decided to reveal that, yeah, behind the dynamic of the loveless marriage was a character who's just impossible to feel any sympathy for because, yeah, whatever was her own volition or not, she's just that selfish entirely of her own choice. So yeah, that said, I kind of agree with Wolfgang that what this one contradicts the most for me is not the original pilot, but rather Murder Family, where, I mean, I guess like Stolitz from his point of view, like offering an exchange that he sort of assumes is going to be that Blitz is going to see. It's like, oh, I know you love me, Blitzy. Let's make this the excuse so that you can come over here and have intimate time with me. That I know you're busy, but maybe if I just push for you to realize that I need a little attention too, you'll let this deal be the excuse or whatnot, like that. But so my point being, I'm not sure that Stolitz is like without sympathy in that context, if it's more messy than it is genuinely toxic. But what does feel a little different to me is that conversation seems to take place from a standpoint of like, okay, we know each other, we're familiar with each other, we're yeah, we've done this sort of thing with each other already without hammering out exactly how it works. Like, I've let you keep the grimoire, like, okay, whatever, I don't care that much about that, and you've made love to me because, why not? You'll make love to people, and then, yeah, accept the fact that it gets you on your good side after. Like, the pilot here portrays it as, yeah, not very much at all. It's like Stolitz's entire experience with Blitz is the one section where the one time they backed into having a night of passion together and then completely taking the wrong idea from it. And Blitz's experience with Stolitz is, all right, I'll give him one pity night, but otherwise get this guy away from me and give me his valuable portal thing.
All right, but I guess we need to move on to the other part of this react, which is episode 7 short.
Moxie's redemption.
Right, I have my words about this episode,
and kind of the better episode of the two. No,
Yeah, definitely.
so
Depending on who you ask.
Well,
Ask me or Jen.
I was going to say, like, this episode kind of like trails back to like what you mentioned before, second opinion, about your mid feelings about unhappy campers, and which I feel like, oh, so, no. Oh wait, why when they're saying, oh, so that would be for the past. I mean, for this episode specifically, it was like, okay, season 2, episode 3, with Molly and Moxie having to deal with like Crimson, basically. This episode kind of showcases like the huge negative that Moxie thought that he never had, but then as soon as like he saw like a good father figure and then saw the son being rotten, it's like it felt like it was finally like an actual good juxtaposition of like the stereotypical human characters role in these shorts or like in the series. Like I feel like this was like the best execution of this for the first time ever. Because I feel like that was like a big weakness for Vizzy Pop's writing, in which we usually see these proxies of like human characters acting like the hell characters, but they were just that. They were just soulless. They were just not really fun or deep or compelling at all or anything. They're just XPs, just for the hell characters to just bounce off about.
Wait, which ones?
For like the human characters.
Just human characters in general?
Yep.
Yep.
Mob boss and
Oh, so you're building up to praise for this mob boss and the son.
Yeah, in which like it actually felt like we were getting a bit more meat to the bones. Like
yeah.
it wasn't just a copy of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
In which Moxie was like at first just trying to like detracted himself from like his actual mission, because usually with him being like oh, I want to follow the rules, I want to make the mission very boring, but instead him on his own narrative just was like, maybe I could help out this guy, like get out of the country so that he won't be like seeing anyone. But then as soon as like his actions caught up to him about like him whacking off 3 members of like an opposing family, and then like the son was just like gleeful that like, oh, his father is going to pass away now, and that like he's just like enjoying it and not really have any sort of sense of like a repentance or anything like that. On one hand, it's like he didn't really felt like any positive familial connections with his father because of like how he was like pushed around and such before. But on the other hand, he didn't really seem to have like a good bone in his body and such.
Yeah, they went for just like an honest to God, selfish, sociopathic nepo baby.
Yep.
But the one
And luckily he got what he deserved.
Absolutely.
Using the iconography of an angel bite him to kill him, like, dude, that's
literally an angel crushing him.
Yeah, Helluva Boss doesn't always go for perfect circular moral justice, but this time it kind of did. Like, I don't know, if this were one of the other episodes with one of the other tones, it probably would have been, well, the dad still has to die too, of course, otherwise we don't get paid for this mission. But no, this one goes the route, like, dad honestly cares deep down, is honestly trying his best. Son is a selfish, useless nepo baby who can't wait to get him out of the way. Son dies, dad lives.
Yep.
Yeah, like, and then the plot twist of it turning out to be like Crimson starting to do his own operation, in which like the son was actually hiring to like off his father basically with his wishes and whatnot, only for that contract to be terminated just because, oh, the contractor is dead now. I have no business with you, sir. I'm just saying that you're considered dead now. It's like, it's kind of like weirdly poetic for like the jerk father basically having to be like sort of like passive aggressively nice to like to his target now, since like since like his compatriot is like now deceased. It's like a weird homage of like, there's different layers. He's still a scumbag, but he has a sense of weird pride in work.
So what you mean, the human mob boss dad?
Yeah.
No, I was talking about Crimson because like he was like there showcase at the end about like, I'm not gonna like do the hit now since like there's no need to do so since my employer is basically deceased.
No, like what happened was the hit was on the son to begin with, and then Moxie went wall, and then when basically all the shenanigans happened, father was going to sacrifice himself to the son because of the the other family because they wanted the son. Well, when the son they said, well, screw father, Moxie killed him. Then Moxie basically came and was like, oh yeah, the son's dead. So no need to exchange that anymore, sort of thing.
Yeah, don't
Okay.
Yeah.
give yourself up.
So wait, the hit was originally for the son?
Yes.
Yeah, because remember,
Yeah.
they mentioned how he lost a good person. He said it was a rat. It was that person who put the hit on him.
Okay.
Mhm.
So the hit was originally on the son, but he had an idea to save him and not go through with the hit. But as soon as he realized how terrible he was just like, okay, actually, never mind. I'm gonna kill him anyway.
Mhm.
And he was well within his right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Feel about this
I
episode.
don't take back what I said before, though. This one does go out of its way to like keep that structure where it gets to end on okay. Yeah, dad is good, son is bad, dad lives, son dies.
But I think a big thing that this episode, like Moxie knew his dad was bad for a while, but like this episode, I feel the big thing is it showed him like he didn't. It was just that he was in a mob family. It was just because his dad was bad. Like you can get a sense like he sort of used that his dad was a mobster as an excuse for how bad it was. Like I feel like it's sort of like when you have people with the parents who are like, it's like, oh, my dad was abusive, but it's just because he lost his job and all that, or saying like my mother was like, oh, she wasn't mean and all that, just because like she was upset and like use an excuse as it until they meet up, but they don't really realize how bad it was until they get to a healthy family like that. Makes you realize like, oh, you can still be a good father while you're like you lost your job. You can still be a good father. So my father's a shit, and that's what's related here is like that like he using the excuse for a while. And this is like the first moment where I was like, no, his father was bad. It wasn't his job. It was like he could have still been a good father or at least tolerable, but he wasn't. It's because it was just terrible.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't even know if, well, without going into detail about why I think I know anything about this, like, when a parental figure, like, somebody you've been made to live with, to grow with, who's made an indelible print on you, like, even if you know that they were basically a bad person or like that they didn't do right by you, I mean, you can decide something in your mind, but yeah, your feelings are gonna sit with what they were. Like if I mean, there's a reason that the cliche is that, well, such and such tried, or no, they're still my parent. I mean, like yeah,
There's also Pluto.
being like emotional intimacy is a complicated thing that just doesn't want to die off right away. So I mean, like, I'm sure if anybody had asked Moxie, he would have said like, yeah, my dad is a monster, don't go near him. I'm glad I never have to see him again, and I will absolutely pull my weapon if he goes near me or my family again for any reason. But it's still like, yeah, when you're just like turn your attention to how do I feel about this person, like I think even just the fact that he saw a dad in a similar situation be like, yeah, pressed with his back against the wall and have to make a decision and choose like, well, my son's the one I love. I'm gonna put him above, all the other needs here that like Moxie, even in a flawed or like toxic form, he saw an example of like what, honest to God, loving your son looks like, and just kind of
Which he
had
never
to,
saw.
he had to sort of like realize that, the how he feels about like it's what's the word I'm looking for? I mean, it's kind of an accidental healing process he backs into. He's like, I still have these complicated toxic feelings over the fact that, this is my dad who raised me, and I'm haven't even come all the way around to the fact that, okay, no, he honest to God chose not to love me and do right by me. That's which this episode verbalizes what much faster than I am right now, and like, yeah, less detail but fewer words, because that's good writing. You get it on kind of an emotional level.
Yeah. It doesn't help that he only has Blitz to look up to as well.
Boy. But I mean, point being, what I'm saying, yeah, he probably knew something logically, but emotionally, this is like drawing his attention to the fact that, yeah, his feelings are still in a process of healing and moving on here.
Absolutely. It's definitely difficult for a little bit more difficult for me to analyze this particular short, considering that I have really good parents, so I've never really had the similar situation. But I completely get the feeling of Moxie seeing someone who is going through a similar situation to him, and feeling like, he saw his younger self in that boy and he wanted to help him. But as soon as he realized that he was not his younger self and was going to take the wrong path, and there was nothing he could do about it, then he did the right thing. But he saw his younger self in him and he wanted to help, but as soon as he realized that he was worse than his dad and there was no way he could talk him out of it, he knew he had to do the right thing.
Still in character as the angel. How about that? He doesn't just pop out and shoot him either. He does the angel voice. I am an angel killing you.
And then he drops the angel statue on him.
I was just wondering, like, if there's gonna be some sort of weird callback in, like, say, one of the future episodes of like a Has-Been Hotel, like, if something were to happen, I'm like saying, well, we've dealt with like people who like impersonate angels before quite quietly.
But I guess we move on to closing thoughts, because we need to wrap it up, as it's very close.
Fair enough.
Well, I, for one, thought that the new intro was amazing. And I feel like I might be the only one, but I thought the animation was good. I feel like, well, I already knew this kind of sort of the story, but I didn't remember the original intro that much. I'm sorry. This was just amazing to me, I guess.
Yeah, it was actually pretty cool.
And I like the comic book style. It all of a sudden switched into in the middle, like they look more like comic book strips. That was pretty cool. But I really like this Moxie redemption arc too. I feel like also, it was becoming a little bit more, I will not say whiny, but it was becoming weird. Where it was more like Millie. That's, I guess, my favorite now. But yeah.
Boy, I mean, I thought the new pilot was a pretty fun blast from the past, as far as like, an excuse to pull up the old dynamic and have that kind of fun, and like back when just like Millie and Moxie were, for example, on their own plane, just like abruptly making love to each other, and not so much, I don't know, being more ready to go off in their own world because they didn't quite have the same connection to everyone else in the room, and the picking on Moxie more and Luna and stuff. I mean, it had a lot of fun, and all the stuff stole it. Luna, it didn't feel so much like repeating old jokes. It felt like pulling up the old material and being like, oh, here's how I heard that joke. Here's a new way to tell that joke. And I guess I just felt like, they're charging that up for a while. It was, the ending was more like, all right, let's end this now. Like, I mean, I felt like it could have, amounted to more with everything it was doing, whatever that was, and not so much just like, all right, and here's a montage of how they went on their first missions plural. Like, I don't know. I feel like it needed some kind of a punchline, and like how the first mission turned out absolutely ridiculous and nothing like any of their fantasies or something like that. Not just a kill montage.
Are you not popping out into the one where they kill the child?
So,
That's what I thought.
Yeah, well, I mean, like we see 3 different versions, 3 different fantasies about how they're going to go on this first mission and kill those 3 specific people.
Yeah.
And then that amounts to absolutely nothing. They just sort of do it in like the first of a montage of several, and all of them, including that first part, go by like that. Like, I feel like that was just, and now it's time to close out. So much as the writing major in me says they should have, capitalized on what they built up with that first mission and how they all had ideas on how it should be done and whatnot. But
and then there's also the nostalgia.
Yeah, now that was really good. I think it was like a fun 2 acts of what it was, followed by a bit of a fizzle with the closure. The Moxie short, I feel like, knows that it's a bonbon and not a whole full course dessert, and it crafts a pretty darn good one that, like, some hijinks that know how to tell you a Moxie story about that before working its way up into something pretty poignant for what it is, a poignant little point to be made about being able to get past toxic parenting, including the part where you have to say, like, okay, they were wrong to do this to me and I deserved better, period.
Yeah. Indeed.
Yeah.
Of course.
Honestly,
That's my time.
Yeah. Honestly, I know for an absolute fact the multiple reasons why this pilot exists, despite me having all knowledge about exactly the reason why they had to do this. And also, despite the slight lore inconsistency with Stolas, I actually still genuinely enjoyed it. The animation is the animation is really really nice. The jokes land really well, and a lot of the rewrites actually work really well. Plus, also, Luna personally, I think, is a little bit obnoxious in the earlier episodes, so I actually did enjoy her being less abhorrent to Blitz.
And here again, I didn't notice that much difference, not with her or with the Stolas.
Well, keep in mind, in the original episodes,
much.
there is zero familiarity with Luna. All we know her as is the cold daughter character who feels no inclination to show any warmth towards any of them. And I mean, we don't know if that's necessarily her problem or her fault. I mean, maybe, like, we're not exactly given a ton of reasons to think Blitz is a good dad, but they work with the fact, and they wait to pull the trigger on the fact that we don't know anything about her yet, and that we have seen no, like, warmth or little humanity. Okay, we do see a little bit of the teenager side early on, like, I want to fit in with the in crowd. It's like it knows that we have to get to know her first before we get much out of taking her up on, like, okay, I'm ready to bleed a little bit now and show you what makes me tick. But I felt that, like, that was well paid off. Like, let's not forget, Luna is kind of the payoff to Blitz's failed arc in the first season for his arc of I have been kicked to the curb harder than ever at the end of this, which is that, like, okay, let's not forget there are characters around him here, including Luna, because this is where we're going to tell you about how, this applies to her, that, don't have it figured out any more than he does, and who, are walking this path with him and do get something out of being his equally damaged compatriots who are in here with him for a reason.
Yeah.
That like, yeah, like the fact that that she does like consider him a dad, even though she won't say so, and even though they don't have a good conventional father-daughter relationship per se, that they are kind of learning and growing and helping each other on some level. Like I feel like that was kind of a genuinely good payoff to the first season and the closing point of, despite the progress that Blitz is making, he has a long way to go. It's like the sort of bittersweet, but it's not all bad news, is sort of Luna's payoff in the first season.
Yeah, but we have
Absolutely.
so many episodes where she's just like in the background on her phone, not doing that much.
Yeah, well, like the fact that this episode sort of writes her from a standpoint of, like, yeah, you know who this is. You know why we have affections for this character. Like the early season episodes, and I guess why some people don't consider her as likable there is because they're written from the standpoint is you don't know who this is, and you're not going to for a while because she deliberately keeps her emotions in and expresses a lot of coldness and callousness, and we don't know if she has any desire to step outside of that.
Find out.
Well, we did.
I guess with that said, see y'all next time. Which I don't know if we'll have another short next, or if there'll be the Hazard Tell season kickoff.
Oh no!
Oh, that's gonna release on my mom's birthday. By the way, it's really funny timing.
Oh well.
Happy early birthday!
Mm.
You could say happy late to us.
Yeah, Daylover and I both had our birthdays in the past month. Daylover in the past 4 days.
Woo!
Happy late birthday!
Happy belated birthday!
Thank you.
Yes.
So, did we give Jen and Carlos and everybody a chance? I feel like it took a lot of time there.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Like I did speak out my mind about this.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I was able to speak my thoughts on this.
Mm-hmm.
Done.
All right. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
See y'all next time, and
See ya.
short or has been hotel, we'll figure it out. Bye. Y'all.
Bye.